Hello, welcome back into the WNK channel. I am George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here for Weather Now Kentucky. We do have more coverage of tonight's severe weather that is just not letting up here. So let's go ahead and go back on to the radar here. We're not going to do any big intro because we do have a tornado warning that has just went active down here for south central Kentucky, more specifically for Columbia or just north of Columbia toward Russell Springs, Absher, Dunville, just exiting the Campbellsville area and those folks down there. So let's go ahead and read the bulletin there. If it, again, we had this problem earlier, won't let me click the warning box. There we go. Tornado warning is active for north central Russell County, south central Taylor County, south central Casey County, and northeastern Adair County, all in central Kentucky. At 7:44 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 8 miles north of Columbia, moving southeast at 35 miles per hour. The hazard is tornado. The impact will be flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This tornadic thunderstorm will remain over mainly rural areas of north central Russell, south central Taylor, south central Casey, and northeastern Adair counties, including the following locations: Christine, Jericho, Absher, Teddy, Webbs, Crossroads, Royville, Snow, Coburg, Russell Springs, and Russell County Airport. Take cover now by moving to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows if you're outdoors in a mobile home or in a vehicle. Move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. So once again, if you are just not tuning in here with us, we are live back with coverage here. Tornado warning has gone up for Absher, Ella, Dunville, and Russell Springs exiting the Casey Creek area. Let's go over a radar scope here. Let's check and look at what the velocity measurements are looking like here. And we do see a pretty clear indication of rotation right here. It's nothing super impressive, but nonetheless, it is rotation that is occurring right near the beginning box of the warning box, I should say. And again, it's moving at about a speed of 30 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and look at where this is going to be tracking over the next several minutes. So let's go ahead and put our tracker up here. I believe that's the wrong one. There we go. And we'll go ahead and put it right there. And it's heading that way at about 35 mile per hour speed. And so this storm will be near Dunbar Hill in 3 minutes, Neatsville in 7 minutes, Ella in 8 minutes, Webbs Crossroads in 18 minutes, Humboldt 19 minutes, and so on and so forth. So again, cover is starting back up here. The severe threat is not over. In fact, if anything, it's starting to ramp up once again. Now that some of the rain showers are beginning to lift into the northern portions of the state and eastern portions of the state, the turning of the storms is starting to occur. The 850 millibar winds are starting to come in here in this, several thousand feet up. They're starting to come into Kentucky a little bit more, providing a little bit of a better shear profile, allowing these storms to turn to severe even more here throughout the state. So already impactful things ongoing for central Kentucky. Elsewhere, let's go ahead and pull this back out here to the regional view. And we're going to look at what's going on over here towards Central City. Not severe warned, but it easily could be. I'm not really sure why it's not. But Rosine heading toward Morgantown, a really strong thunderstorm in that location. That's heading toward Caneyville. And then we have another severe thunderstorm warning out here from Madisonville and Earlington going down toward Crofton. And that's going to probably be for quarter-sized hail, if I had to guess. Yes, it is for quarter-sized hail and 60 mile per hour winds there. And then back over toward northern central portions of the state, just a full-on rainstorm. You can definitely tell where the warm front is, by the way. It's right up here. And that's why storms south of there are allowing themselves to be able to turn strong once again. North of there, the storms are really struggling to be able to produce anything significant. They're just turning into massive rain showers with a few rumbles of thunder mixed in there. One thing we're looking forward to for the rest of the night here, not looking forward to, but looking into, is that mesocyclone vortex we've been advertising to you is starting to make its way. It's ejecting south and starting to make its way toward western Kentucky. And so as it does that, it'll continue to influence what's currently happening down there and allow for some more severe weather to pop up in western Kentucky. One spot to note over here is Bowling Green, Kentucky. That area has been pretty what we call naked or bare over the last couple of hours. There's been a few stray showers roll through there, but overall, it's been relatively untouched. That is also the location where the best shear profiles are set up right now So what we're going to do is we're going to watch these little cells that are filtering their way into that area and see if they can continue to get stronger and root to produce a supercell thunderstorms. So that's kind of what we're watching for now. Again, if you're just not tuning in here with us, severe thunderstorm warning over the Campbellsville to Greensburg to Columbia areas, tornado warning inside of that for Absher heading toward Ella and going toward Russell Springs in south central Kentucky there. This is radar indicated. It has not been confirmed yet. But again, you can kind of see there is nothing super impressive. But like we talked about earlier, it has that circle of inflow and outflow, or inbound and outbound winds right next to each other, which is a pretty clear indication that something is absolutely rotating in that storm. Outside of that, down toward Monticello, you actually have a severe thunderstorm warning for your area, and that is for winds of up to 60 mile per hour. Not a major hail threat in that, some small hail being spit out, but not a major hail threat, mainly for 60 mile per hour winds down there. So that's kind of the view right now of what is going on throughout Kentucky. I want to say thank you to everyone that's tuning in. If you haven't already, you guys already know the deal over there on Facebook. There's 900 viewers in here. Let's get these shares up. Let's get this video out to more folks. Get these folks informed. Get them up to date on what to expect here, because a lot of people are going to let their guard down because it's been relatively quieter for the last couple of hours. But I'm telling you right now, the severe threat is not over. If you are just not tuning in here as well and you haven't heard, the tornado watch has been expanded and also extended. So let's go ahead and pull that up here for you real quickly. I'm going to go ahead and turn off our overlay so you can see it a little bit better here. And basically for this area, pink out here toward Danville, your tornado watch goes toward 10 p.m. Eastern time. Same thing for folks up there in north central Kentucky, although honestly, you'd probably be canceled or dropped if you're in like Hardin County or Breckenridge and Meade County. Down here toward Bowling Green, you have not been extended yet, but I do expect that there's probably a good chance that they extend your tornado watch until 1 a.m. as well. If you're over here in western Kentucky, basically from Madisonville to Hopkinsville to points west, your tornado watch has been extended all the way until 1 a.m. Eastern time. So again, the severe threat is not over. I don't want anyone to let their guard down at all, because things are starting to ramp back up again. And this was the forecast, 1 to 11 p.m.-ish. It was our forecast for today for that window. Of course, maybe we should have extended that a little bit longer, but hindsight's always 2020. As we go over here, I do want to mention to you real quickly, a severe thunderstorm warning has been introduced for this portion of Kentucky, and that is for a tornado possible, hail up to quarter size, and winds of up to 60 mile per hour. Let's go ahead and check the velocity on that. Since it does say there's a tornado possible within that box, let's go ahead and go over and check the radar over for the storm on that. I do definitely see some rotating winds there, but again, the difference is they're not really in a circle, they're more of in a straight line. If it starts turning into more of a circle, then we might have a problem to worry about there. Right now, they look like they're more in a straight line than anything, whereas opposed to that, if we come over here and look at this storm cell, a little bit more of a circular look to those. You could draw a circle and it would fit inside of there. So that's the difference between those two cells right now. Once again, if you're just not tuning in here, there is a tornado warning up. That is for the Russell Springs to Ella, to Dunville areas of south central Kentucky over there. Again, we're going to keep continuing to watch out here. So just to kind of zoom out real quick and give you kind of an overall look. Right now, these cells that are here will continue to impact this area of Kentucky for the next few hours. Over here, you have the mesocyclone vortex in St. Louis dropping south of there and now heading more toward western Kentucky. That will impact those folks here in about a couple of hours. So those are the kind of things that we have on the board right now that we're continuing to watch for you and track for you throughout this nighttime hour here of almost 8 p.m. Eastern time. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you tuning in. We're going to be live throughout the rest of the night here with you, barring any interruptions, of course. Again, I want to say quickly thank you to everyone that's been sharing the broadcast all day on Facebook. I really do appreciate your guys' help. There's already been several dozen comments today of people coming in here saying, hey, one of my friends shared the video, I saw it, loved it, and we're thankful for our information. So thank you to you guys that are helping us spread our information out there. We appreciate you. Let's get to some of your comments now. Sharice, thank you for sharing the video. Appreciate that. Trish, thank you for your 200 stars. I appreciate your kindness so much. Sean with the 560 stars. Thank you very much, my friend. Trish with another 20 stars. Thank you. Megan with 20 stars as well. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of your support and kindness out there. Is a mesocyclone the biggest threat for BG at the moment? At the moment, you need to watch these cells that are closer to you. because these have the chance to still be quite severe for Bowling Green. So at the moment, your first threat is going to be these ones that are closer to you. Yes, Brandon. Although I would say it's probably closer to 11 p.m. Well, I guess 10 p.m. your time, Central Time. Jan Paul, thank you for the 20 stars. I appreciate that. No, I don't think Monticello, Kentucky's going to go under a tornado watch. I do not think so. You're not currently under one, are you? I don't think you are. No, you're not. You're the county over from it. I don't think they will expand that any more east, but they've already expanded it twice, so I can't rule it out. Flash flood warning down here for the Tennessee Kentucky border. That's a flash flood emergency down there for those folks down there. Also, real quickly, I want to say real quickly, we're sending out our thoughts and prayers to the folks down there in Murfreesboro and near that area where they've been hit by a tornado emergency. At least on radar and some of the footage that we've seen already, it looked like quite the substantial tornado. So luckily for Kentucky, a lot of that stayed just to our south. I mean, look how close that is. You know what I mean? Just difference of 100 miles, and that's up in Bowling Green. So that's how incredibly close that was. But our thoughts and prayers go out to those folks down there and their families that have been impacted and those communities down there. We'll do anything we can to help if anyone reaches out to us. Let's see here. Shauna, thank you for 100 stars. I appreciate that. Uh, sort of, kind of. It might clip the very far western sides of Somerset. Whoever was asking about the location of this. If you're asking about specific forecast information, I'm going to go ahead and already tell you. I'm not going to get into specifics on other counties. What we're going to focus on right now is basically this area. If you were outside this area, your likelihood of being included in severe weather tonight is probably not high. So, like, let's say, well, let me redraw that before I put my foot in my mouth real quickly. If you're anywhere outside of this area, right? Let's go right there. So Richmond, Danville, Berea. Like, I understand Danville's under a tornado watch right now. Still not 100% sure why. But if you're anywhere in this area, I don't expect massive amounts of severe weather for you. Can you get a severe cell or two up there? Yes, and even at most, it would likely be borderline. So if you're going to ask me about Frankfort or Lexington or somewhere in Eastern Kentucky or Louisville or even my hometown of Radcliffe, the odds of you seeing severe weather tonight are quickly diminishing in my eyes. We'll continue to monitor the threat for you, let you know if anything changes. But if I see any of these locations pop up in the comment section, I'm probably not going to answer it. I'm just being honest with you because right now our focus is down here for the areas of the Kentucky that are actually under some sort of impact. I hope you guys can understand that, and I hope you guys respect that. Our focus is on the impactful areas, not necessarily the areas we don't feel like. So, genuinely, if I don't answer your question, we got two options here. You can go back and look at our forecast on the Twitter and Facebook page. All of our forecast information is there. Or you could trust that if I read your comment and didn't answer it, it probably means I don't think there's a severe threat for your area or a substantial threat for your area. Yes, Brandon. All hazards are still possible for Madisonville through 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Jenna, thank you for your 20 stars. I appreciate you. That is a flash flood emergency, by the way. Brian with the 40 stars, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Shauna with 100 stars, thank you so much. Yes, a lot of these storms are beginning to strengthen once again, especially the ones heading toward Logan. Now, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll let you know if anything changes. But right now, a lot of these storms are maintaining their strength pretty easily. What are those red dots on the screen? Are you talking about these orange ones right here? Those are old cell markers. They try to identify cells within the radar. Is there a tornado in Columbia? No, the Columbia is not included in the tornado warning right now. Matter of fact, I want to go ahead and check on this once more. Okay, the little bit of rotation that we did see there is diminishing quite quickly. So that tornado warning might be canceled. We've seen that quite a bit, I believe, throughout the day today. Tornado warning goes up, and it definitely is rotating. And then as soon as it goes up, it's like 5 minutes later, it stops rotating. We've seen that quite a bit today. I'm also seeing some signs of rotation out here toward just the north of Morgantown, and it's just to the south of Caneyville, heading toward Brownsville. It's nothing impressive, but I do see some signs of rotation in those areas. Feller's not a tornado in Madisonville. Um, Muhlenberg is still in a risk until later on tonight. Eastview should be good. Again, guys. Again, I just want to another little mark here. If you're above this line here, then that tornado warning was canceled. Look at that. We're on it today. We're on it today. By the way, that tornado warning was canceled. If you're north of this line, or to the east of it, I genuinely believe that your severe odds of seeing any severe cell is less than 10%. Genuinely. And if you do see a severe cell, it's likely going to be borderline at best. Okay, so we're going to focus heavily on places that are below that red line. So Campbellsville, Columbia, Glasgow, Bowling Green, Franklin, Russellville, Owensboro, Hopkinsville, all the way out western Kentucky. So genuinely, again, if I start seeing a lot of comments about, let's throw a random example, Moorhead out, I'm going to start ignoring them. I'm not trying to be mean, I promise. I know it probably sounds rude, but I'm genuinely not. Just because I want to focus on the areas that are under a genuine risk. You know what I mean? And I can only say so many times that the same area is not under a risk anymore, or is under a risk. So if I answer the same areas, or I see the same person asking the same question, I'm going to start ignoring them. Not because I'm trying to be rude, but because I really want to focus on the areas that are actually under some sort of impact, instead of clogging the feed with areas that have no impact expected. Sacramento and Bremen, you need to be on guard tonight as well. I believe that's Western Kentucky, right? Bremen, right? That's somewhere down here, isn't it? By the way, you're going to have to help me out. Again, if you have small counties or cities that you know you might live in, give me a bigger name that might be near you. I know. Also, my brain is absolutely fried. So, yeah, I'm drawing a big brain fart on where Bremen is for some reason right now. Near Central City. Thank you. I knew it was somewhere. I had the radar over here, but I couldn't remember exactly where it is. There we go. So see, like, when I have to see how far I have to zoom in just to see that. So, like, for example, this is a regular view of a radar right here, right? So look at how far I have to zoom in just to see that small. So that's what I'm saying. If you can give me a bigger city near you, I can find your location a lot faster. A lot faster. Currently under, well, actually, you just got trimmed from it, so no severe threat at the moment for you guys. Brownsville, can you give me a bigger city near you, please? Bremen. I'll try to remember. There's so many weird names in Kentucky anymore. I swear. I swear. There's so many weird names. Someone's asking about Lawrenceburg. Isn't that all the way out here? Or am I wrong on that as well? I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong on that. Because there's a Lawrenceburg, there's a Lewisburg, there's a Lawrence County. There's a Kentucky. You would think Kentucky could come up with some more original names. Where is Lawrenceburg? Y'all gonna have to help me out tonight. Listen, it's been we're going on like, I think 36 hours now. Brain's not working there. Lawrenceburg is close to Lexington. If that's the case, I don't think you're under any sort of threat for the night. Lawrenceburg is south of Frankfort. You're correct. It is. Yes. No, I don't think you have anything to worry about tonight. Thank you. Look at all great people helping me out. I appreciate this. We help each other out here. Sydney, that's correct. I think your threat goes until about 11 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, see, now we're getting the locations that are above that line. We're fixing to cut it off. My camera's off. Has my camera been off the whole time? Oh, wow. That's funny. Well, at least we can laugh about it, I guess. I've been over here just yapping to myself, I suppose. Wow, that's actually hilarious. There we go. See, I'm telling you guys, it's bedtime. It's bedtime around here. Oh man, that's actually hilarious. I don't think I've ever done that before. I don't think I've ever done that before. Not the whole time, but for the last few minutes. That's actually hilarious. That is actually hilarious. Thank God we can laugh about it because there's only a couple silver warnings out there. That's actually hilarious. You're not kidding, Adna. I got my vacation shirt on right now. So, where were we? Oh, I can only imagine, Amy. I can only imagine. Did you? Oh my goodness. Well, there's so many comments. Now you guys can truly believe me when I tell you that I can't see every single one of your comments at one time, because if I would have solved the camera comment, I would have turned it back on. Yeah, the tornado warning for Russell Springs has been canceled. Scienceville, Somerset. I think you do have a severe warning out there, but I mean, it truly it's borderline at best, and that's going to be the case when you start getting outside of this red line, guys. So I'm going to draw this once more because we seem to be having some confusion about it. When we get outside of this red line right here, okay, even if you do get a severe warning, it's going to be borderline at best. It's only going to last a few minutes, and it's probably going to drop back down. So genuinely for everyone from Florence to Frankfurt to Lexington to Richmond, Berea, Danville, Somerset, London, Corbin, Pikeville, Harlan, everyone outside of the red line, I think you're good. Okay. Now, can't rule out a one or two rogue, mysterious, borderline severe cells roll through somewhere within that 60 county stretch. But overall, the general threat for that area is really low because the warm front and the way that the storms are moving is settling down here in central and western Kentucky. Jennifer, thank you for the 145 stars. I appreciate that. It's right under where that box is no one lake. Should you be worried? I definitely think there is a threat for 60-mile-per-hour winds in this area. And it does say a tornado is possible, but I haven't seen anything on radar to suggest a tornado threat is imminent. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, I know it has the tornado signature there, but that's always crappy. You never really look at that. Let's go ahead and go up here toward the Louisville radar. I'm not seeing a whole lot there rotation-wise. So we're looking at some small hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds possible in that box. Gosh, this headset cord. I'm going to have to give me like a wireless headset, because I can't stand this headset cord. Knox County, where's Knox County at? Someone help me with that. Give me a big city near it. The cell coming toward Greenville risk. It is severe warm. That is correct. Ping pong ball size tail and 60-mile-per-hour winds are the main threat there. It'll be in Greenville in about 20 minutes. Dunbar County is at risk to see severe weather later on tonight. You're going to be able to have that risk all the way until about midnight to 1 a.m. Eastern time. Campbellsville, you're kind of right on that line. I mean, I could see some more severe weather for you, but you've also had a crap ton of rain over the last couple of hours. I know that's not the most professional term to use, but I think we're past professional stuff right now. But genuinely, for lack of better terms, you've had a crap ton of rain over the last couple of hours, and what that's rain. So let me show you real quickly. This might help you guys understand a little bit better. So let me show you. I mean, just look at what the temperatures are, right? Now, you can get severe weather to occur when temperatures in the 60s, but when you're talking about a storm system like this, you really got to get to that 70 marker. You really got to get to that 70 marker. That's a good general rule of thumb. Other than that, you're probably a little too cold pooled to worry about severe weather. And just look at the wide swath. Now, I know that northeastern Kentucky, you guys are technically under or above 70 degrees, but that's only because you have barely seen any rain today. Okay, everywhere. I mean, just look at the massive swath of Kentucky that is under 65 degrees even. So that's why the threat is really confined. Like, again, unless you're genuinely in this area, and even this is probably a bit of a stretch. Okay, unless you're in this area to the left, so this way. Unless you're in this area to the left, everywhere outside of it, you're good. You're good. And even if you do see a severe cell, it's probably going to be borderline at best. What your main threat is for tonight outside of this area is flash flooding. Okay? And now that's still a serious threat. But when you're talking about tornadoes or violent hail or violent winds. I don't see that happening outside of this red line. Okay, can it happen? Yeah, it can. But the likelihood is just so much. Let me put it this way: odds of seeing severe weather later on tonight, 70% in that red circle, 10% outside of it. Does that help a little bit? Does that help to see the numbers like that? If you're outside of this red circle, you got a 10% risk to see severe weather later on tonight for that entire area. Okay, it's really low. That's really low. It's about midnight to 1 a.m. Eastern time. If you're inside the red circle, 70% of that area has, or all that area has a 70% chance to see severe weather. So it's a lot more likely. All right. I hope maybe that helps. I don't know. And here's a piece of advice. Well, figure out where you are on a map. Okay. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's kind of astounding how many people don't know where they're at on the map, and that's just flat out unsafe, right? Because then you don't know where you're going. If you get lost, if you're out walking one day, you don't know how storms are coming into your area because you don't know exactly where your area is. If you don't know where you're at on the map, open up your smartphone, open up the map on there. A lot of smartphones, or all smartphones, have like some sort of GPS on there, and you'll automatically have a ping or a place marker where you're at. Zoom out a couple of times, you'll see a couple of the big cities near you, and then you can start to compare that and use context when you're looking at weather maps, when you're looking, when you're traveling and stuff. Just really, really, my biggest piece of advice, especially on days like today where we have a wide swath of Kentucky under a big severe threat, and we're having to focus on a wide swath. It's so much easier when folks know where they're at on the map, and that's no disrespect. I know that's something a lot of people just simply overlook. But don't worry, out on the map is going to help you so much with understanding what we're talking about here. Yeah, Summer. That's about how it usually goes. 98% of these videos. Laura, thank you for sharing the stream. I appreciate that. Jody, thank you for sharing the stream. Tony, thank you for your 99 stars. I appreciate you. Vero, Dana, everyone else, thank you for all your shares. I appreciate that. If you're inside that line, Amber, all modes of severe weather are possible until about midnight. Technically, Mackenzie, the tornado threat or the tornado watch that you're under Bowling Green ends at 9 p.m. But I think your threat continues on beyond 9 p.m. And I do see a possibility where they might extend that. Speaking of which, let me see if they've discussed extending it yet. No, they have not discussed extending that yet. All the Reds are playing. I forgot about that. Sorry, I got distracted. I saw it on Twitter. I wasn't meaning to look at the Reds game. I promise. It just kind of happened. It just kind of happened. Okay, I don't see where they discussed it yet. But we'll keep an eye on that for you guys. Yeah, Alex, and yesterday morning, what's happening in Tennessee yesterday morning on model data was showing that that would happen in Kentucky. So, although our forecast is already verified, even if we don't see anything for us tonight, our forecast is already verified. Um, Even if we don't see anything else for us tonight. And it's been quite the severe day in Kentucky. Lots of damages from hails or from hailstorms that have been reported. Lots of damages from wind. We've had a couple of tornadoes that have been spotted in Kentucky. I'd have to go back and figure out where that was. But we've had a couple. We've had pretty much the whole deck of cards here today, and I still consider us lucky because of the amount of energy that was out there. If that warm front was able to get up more north earlier today, shoo-wee, you're talking about some real issues. You're talking about some real issues. And that's happened a couple of times this year already. So it's happened a couple of times this year already. Most notably remember back on April 3rd, where, we had 20 tornado warnings in the state, right? But I'm still telling you guys to this day, and here it is May 8th, 2 months, or a month and a week later. I'm still telling you that day could have been a lot worse. It really could have been. So I consider us lucky, even though the forecast is already verified. And yes, we've had a particularly dangerous situation in Western Kentucky. And I don't think the severe threat is even close to being over because if you look up there towards St. Louis, it's really, really going. And it'll only get more powerful as it heads more south. Okay? But even if nothing else were to happen tonight, I consider us really lucky because, man, they've already had quite a few strong tornadoes in Tennessee, and it looks like they've had one violent one near Murfreesboro. So I consider Kentucky really lucky today, genuinely, because not a lot of people realize how close it is. I mean, look at Murfreesboro and Bowling Green, for example, right? Bowling Green's probably what the third or fourth biggest city in the state of Kentucky, something like that. Murfreesboro to Bowling Green is probably only about a 100-mile difference. All right, that's not that much when you're talking about weather-wise. Yeah, when you're driving it, that's a couple of hours. But when you're talking about weather-wise, 100 miles is nothing, right? So I consider us lucky up here today, even though we've already had several damage reports, dozens upon dozens of severe warnings. We're probably getting close to double digits on tornado warnings so far as well. I think we're lucky up here. So again, if you're just not tuning in here with us, the severe threat continues, especially if you're in that red circle where the 70% marker is. Here, let me do this so it looks a little bit more clear. If you're in where the 70% marker is, we expect your severe threat to continue all the way until about midnight Eastern time. All modes of severe weather are possible. Talking about large to violent hail, talking about violent winds, straight line wind gusts, and a couple more tornadoes cannot be ruled out as well. So if you're inside of that red circle, so Glasgow, Bowling Green, Hopkinsville, Madisonville, Murray, Paducah, Owensboro's on the line, uh, Morganfield, out there toward Western Kentucky. If you're anywhere out there, all modes of severe weather are still possible in our eyes until about midnight Eastern time. If you're outside of that red zone, so basically anywhere from Elizabethtown to points northeast to include Lexington, Frankfort, Campbellsville to points east to include points like Danville, Richmond, Berea, let's say Monticello to points east to include Corbin, London, Hazard, Pikeville, all those folks out there. Your odds of seeing severe weather the rest of the night are extremely slim at about a 10% risk. And even if you do see a severe cell, it will likely be borderline at best. So you're talking about the major differences in risks there. Hopefully, that really broad statement there clears up some of the confusion that we're seeing in the chats. Haley, I don't know if it will be, but I do think there's a possibility. What about Adair? Well, you're outside of that red circle, so I think your odds of seeing severe weather are about 10% risk for the rest of the night. And if you do see one, it would be probably pretty borderline. So small hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, looking like the main threat for that area. Angela, John, thank you for your star donations. I appreciate you guys. Genuinely, Katie, hope I'm saying that correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not. The Bowling Green threat goes until midnight Eastern time. It can kick up at any point here. Not yet, Caitlin. Brandenburg, you're so close to that line. I would give it a little bit. Let's see how that line in St. Louis acts, or just south of St. Louis. Let's see how that line acts. You're too close to that line. What does the hail core look like in the Greenville system? Let's go ahead and take a look at that for you. So the hail core in that Greenville system looks like it's at about a 0.75 inches, so it's really shrinking. Right, that's the wrong core, George. It is at about a 1 inch diameter size, so that's about quarter size hail. Um, let's see here. It does indicate some rotation is occurring. Let's take a look. There's not anything down there. Yeah, about 1.25 inches, so about quarter sized hail and about 50 to 60-mile-per-hour winds are the main threat for Greenville. Exactly, Beth. Beth is getting it. Outside of the red circle, 10% chance of severe weather. And even if you do see one, now, again, 10% still means there's still some small risk there. Uh, but even if you do see one, guys, genuinely, it would probably be pretty borderline at best. No, Hannah, I do not, unfortunately. Todd County, you're in that red circle. You have a 70% risk to see severe weather the rest of the night. All modes on the table. Yeah, I do think Litchfield has a chance to see some more storm activity later on tonight, especially once that St. Louis storm gets near. but he should have quite the break out there. Yeah, you got a nasty little severe thunderstorm right there. It's nothing absolutely crazy, but you definitely have a nice little thunderstorm going on out there. Where'd you say you were? Brownsville. Is that the yeah right here? Yeah, it's definitely. Let's see here. Let's go check this. It's got 1 inch diameter hail, so that's quarter sized, and about. Let's go over here to. It's got a small, very broad, very broad rotation with it. So you might have some enhanced wind gusts up to 60 mile per hour there. Albany, Kentucky. Is that somewhere in southern Kentucky? Greensburg is on the line of that red circle. But I would probably throw Greensburg outside of the circle. It's probably just an artist error there. Can we see a play-by-play of what are you talking about, Kay? 8 towns outside of that red circle, about a 10% risk to see severe weather through about midnight Eastern time. Owensboro, Kentucky, you're at about a 50%, 50-50 in Owensboro for that late night round around 11 p.m. Eastern time or so. Justin, I have no idea where Jenkins, Kentucky is. Can you give me a bigger city near you or a county that you're in, please? Albany, Kentucky is by Monticello, Kentucky. Well, if it's all the way over there, then I think your odds of seeing severe weather are maxing out right now, and gets lower every 30 minutes you lead. So 10% risk or less for the rest of the night out there. Some rotation reported in Wayne County. We've been kind of searching around. I haven't seen a whole lot of rotation around anywhere. I've been keeping an eye on it. The only 2 severe cells that we see are right here in South Central Kentucky, and neither of them have any alarming rotation with it. Around midnight Eastern time. Whoever said when this should be all over. For South Kentucky, you're not at any risk. Litchfield, Kentucky, you're at about truly about a 50-50 on seeing severe potential later on tonight from that last round that's diving in out of Illinois. What you did earlier with the times for radar up to 12 a.m. Oh, we'll look at the model data here in a little bit. Richmond is in the sleep circle, yeah. And again, even for those folks out there in the 10%, I can't rule out severe weather altogether for you, but the threat, in my eyes, is just extremely low. Franklin, I think you have a good shot of getting your tornado watch expanded or extended until at least 11 p.m. Eastern time. All modes of severe weather possible until at least midnight. The Anvil, you're outside of that red circle. I don't see many odds for severe weather for you. I know they put a tornado watch out for you until 10 p.m. And now I can't speak for them, but quite frankly, I don't know what the heck that was for. I don't. There's just way too much rain over there. I mean, look at that radar. I mean, there's just way too much rain. No. So anyone in that red circle where the 70% risk is, that's through midnight. Keena, I have no idea where that's at. You have to give me a bigger city that's near you if you do not mind, please. Paducah, you have a severe thunderstorm warning that just went up for you if you were in the Paducah area. A main hazard is going to probably be, let's see here. Paducah, your main hazard is going to be 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So Paducah, severe thunderstorm warning for your area until 8 p.m. Central Time. Main hazard being 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Manchester, Kentucky, Jennifer, I'm not sure what that is. Please, can you give me a county that you're in or a bigger city near you? Will that Hopkinsville storm head to BG? The actual one that's in Hopkinsville, technically in Hopkinsville, that will go south of BG. The one that is severe warm to the north of Hopkinsville, that will go to BG in about 45 minutes. Munfordville, you're at 70% risk to see all modes of severe weather until midnight Eastern time. Same thing for Litchfield. Same thing for Cape City. I hope everything goes okay out there for them. The storm moving in the northern thoughts. It's definitely a strong severe thunderstorm. I would say 65 mile per hour winds, up to quarter, maybe ping pong ball sized hail. But I didn't see last time I checked. I could check again. Last time I checked, I didn't see any real rotation with it. Um, I'm still not seeing any rotation with it. So it should actually start to die down. It's looking like, which is kind of impressive because there's a lot of energy going on out there. Tornado in Brownsville. There's no tornado warning in Brownsville. There's also no rotation in Brownsville. So I don't see any signs or any warnings of a tornado in or near Brownsville. No one, Hopkinsville is not in the clear. No. Yeah, no. See, Brandenburg's really close to that line, really close. So I would give it a little bit. Let's see if anything changes. Um, but Brandenburg's really close to that line. You're splitting hairs at that point. Is there any rotation with any warning in Kentucky right now? From my eyes of what I've seen, there's not any rotation with any of these warnings currently. I can't give you that exact timing, Jasmine. I can just tell you that the threat exists till midnight Eastern time. Conform, I did not see any reports of any confirmations of any damages in Bowling Green today. Hart County, Munfordville, you got a 70% risk to see all modes of severe weather until midnight Eastern time. You got those storms rolling through Hopkinsville now, and you've also got that threat coming in later on tonight. So realistically, anywhere between now and midnight Eastern time, truly, genuinely, guys. I'm not trying to sound like like a robot here, but genuinely, everyone inside of that red circle has the same risks at the same times. Everyone outside of that red circle has the same amount of low risks at the same amount of times. So that's why you're hearing some of the same answers get told over and over again because it's genuinely the same. It's generally the same. I'm not sure where Nancy is, Courtney. Can you give me a bigger city or county near you, please? I would appreciate that. Liberty in Casey County. I believe you're inside of that circle, which means that you are at a risk to see severe weather at about 70% rate until midnight Eastern time. Grayson County, you're inside of that circle, so you're at a 70% risk to see all modes of severe weather until midnight Eastern time. No, Vicky, there'll be some recovery of that temperature throughout the next couple of hours. Except for Brandenburg, you're splitting hairs. That's correct. Pulaski and Russell County line, you're outside of that. Right, you're outside of that. Right, I can't. For some reason, I'm having a brain fart on Pulaski and Russell County. But I believe you're outside of that 70% zone, which means you're at a 10% risk to see all modes of severe weather later on tonight, which means you're at a very, very, very slim risk. This is live radar. This is not a model, Taylor, but there are some storm lines colliding, but they're not really undergoing any cell mergers. They're just ballooning into massive rain showers. Larue County near Hodgeville. Again, you're right. You're kind of like Brandenburg. You're right on that line, so you're kind of splitting hairs at this point. I would say 50-50 shot until about 11 p.m. Eastern time, or midnight Eastern time, I should say, on severe weather odds. Andrew, I would say the environment supports that scenario. Um, but overall today, I don't know if you actually had any confirmations of any touchdowns in Kentucky, which is kind of surprising. Talking about how much energy we've had out here, and also if you go just south into Tennessee, they've had several touchdowns. So I would just continue to say very carefully that the environment supports that scenario of tornadic activity. But quite frankly, it just hasn't happened. It just hasn't happened very much. Justin, I'm not sure where Letcher County is. It must be somewhere out in the far eastern portion of the state. Which, if that's the case, I don't think I don't think you have any sort of threat. Nortonville, you got a 70% risk to see all modes of severe weather through midnight Eastern time. Same thing for Boyle County. Yeah, Tompkinsville, you're at about a 70% risk to see all modes of severe weather through about midnight Eastern time. No, Brady, because the environment should have enough time to recover and destabilize before this line in Illinois gets to that area. Thank you, Faith, for tuning in. I appreciate that. All right, since we don't have anything that's popping off in a super bad way, and we're starting to get some of the most redundant questions that I've seen in a while, I'm going to take a break. I will be back, of course, if anything gets tornadic, or if anything gets life-threatening hazardous, or when this line over here in Illinois gets closer to Kentucky. I will come back on air here with you guys. But right now, genuinely, everything is pretty borderline. Pretty borderline at best. I would say that this cell here in Central Kentucky is the roughest looking cell, Brownsville to Bee Spring, and even this one is pretty borderline at best. Pretty borderline at best. So right now, guys, when we do these broadcasts during alert days, we want to keep them. We want to make sure that people know when we do these, they're important, they're necessary. Right now, I don't think it's necessary. All of these are borderline at best. Right now, it's a waiting game until this gets a little bit closer, right? Because this line is obviously going to be very severe when it enters Western Kentucky. So we're going to be back on air for that. And of course, if any of these turn tornadic or any of these turn hazardous, we'll let you know, and we'll be back on air. But right now, guys, I'm not seeing much of anything. Everything that even is severe is extremely borderline. Also, I've mentioned over the last 45 minutes here which area I think is still at play to see severe weather. And again, it's this area right here in the red. It's this area. This area over here, your odds of seeing severe weather the rest of the night are extremely slim. I wouldn't say zero, but I would say extremely slim. So, Jennifer asks, is the line in St. Louis the last to come through? Yes, it is, and I would be so happy when it finally gets its butt down here because I need some sleep. But don't worry, we'll be here watching for you guys. Again, if you're north of that red line, don't worry. So whoever just has about Barstown, I think you're good to go. But you just got a severe thunderstorm warning. That's correct. As for this line right here that hasn't really done anything in quite some time, I'll go ahead and read the bulletin for you. It's a borderline severe thunderstorm warning. It's for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And honestly, that's for far northern Warren County. That doesn't actually really include Bowling Green. It includes Park City, Cave City, Bumfordville, and those folks out there. Again, borderline at best, does not include Bowling Green. What else? Okay, I'll be back in a little bit. When this line over here in Illinois gets closer to Kentucky, we'll come back online. Or if any of these cells turn tornadic, we will be back online. Until then, just kind of relax. Just kind of relax. Overall, I don't see anything super hazardous for a good chunk of Kentucky. Once again, it's basically from this red line to points west. That's where we see a severe threat later on tonight. If you're to the right of this line, I don't see a severe threat for you tonight. That's about as simple as it gets. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Until next time, stay safe, Kentucky.